Okay. All right, guys. Episode 5, Jake Nolan's Fabrication. Thanks for coming back. Today, or in this episode, I'm going to concentrate on the steering. Apologize for the fans if you hear a buzzing. It's I had these 2 fans installed, and so it's probably causing a little hum in the background. Steering. I'm going to take care of the steering from the J body, Cavalier, Sunbird, whatever. Possibly the only thing worth the damn on the entire car of that model or models. I'm going to take care of that, get that installed, and hopefully, with any luck, get the outer tie rods. Still got to figure out just geometry with that. Hopefully I can get that addressed, as well as shocks. I need to do the front and rear shocks, as well as address the brakes. So just kind of bouncing around on a lot of things. I'm eager to get this car as a roller. Once I can do that, then it's getting the body on and start trimming that out, getting that dialed in. Just want to say I appreciate you guys for following along with me, and it's a fun journey. We're coming up to, let's see, a couple more months and it'll be a year, and it's just me doing this, but it's fun for me. I hope it's fun for you. Maybe you learn something on how not to do things. I don't again, I might have said it before, but I'm not a professional. I don't. This has just been a passion of mine. If I'm doing something wrong, call me out on it. I'm open for constructive criticism. I'm doing I'm doing the things that I want to do. That's fun for me, and try and put it together as safe as possible. With minor imperfections, I'm sure, but it's hot rodding. It's just glue shit together, man. Make it happen. Anyway, hopefully we can get this going. Join along. I'll ramble here and there, but most of it is just grinding, literally. Okay, let's do it. A GM J body steering apparatuses, rack and pinion. This thing. They're like chicken's teeth to find. I found that the last thing I wanted to do was go onto eBay and find something because I couldn't tangibly see it myself. I found this one on eBay. This one came out of a 1990 piece of shit. Pontiac Sunbird. It's like the Pontiac version of a Cavalier. Whatever. Anyway, it's center steer. Narrow enough. All the geometry works. The geometry seems to work, at least in my research. But there are adapters that you need to have at the end of the center tie rods. The outer tie rod, there's a joiner that you need to couple that matches the threads for one of the inner rod, and then the outer rod is an 0405 Ford Explorer outer tie rod ends. The taper, the taper is the same as that is on the car, and so get into this here. The steering is going to mount right about here. I made these templates roughly. So the template is going to, you have to bear with me here. So that's where the template, it will mount here. Like that. Take this little guy over here, roughly somewhere in here. that will give me room to run. That's why I ended up getting this rear sump oil pan. I couldn't have gone with the front or the center sump. It had to be the rear, so that the rack and pinion will travel. Just it'll clear this. I have plenty of room. I just gotta. I'm figuring out my measurements right here for moving forward. Anyway, that's what we got going on here. The rest of it's all looking pretty sweet. Everything, not everything's totally clean just yet, guys. Once I get all the fabrication stuff done, I'm gonna disassemble the entire car, and I'll go back and I'll do some basically like some rust preventative paint. I forget what the stuff is. Casey, you're the one to help me out on this if you're watching, buddy, but I'll remember the name. I'll get it later. Anyway, that's what we got going on. So that's what we're doing, all right? Stop yelling at me, okay? Let's get after it. All right, so roughly for a better idea, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. My fat head isn't in the way. So what I want to do is mount those two brackets that I was showing you earlier that I'm going to fabricate to mount underneath the frame here and here. All right, folks, so getting the steering taken care of. In my research, a lot of folks that work on these Plymouths have stuck to a J-body, GM J-body steering assembly. Again, this rack and pinion. J-body being Cavalier, Pontiac Sunbird, which this came out of. Really high end. It's a nice automobile. I think this is probably the only thing worth the shit getting out of the car. But we're gonna make it work. And it seems like it has worked out for many in the past. So we're gonna make it work for us. I made these templates, or a template, I should say. And my plan is to put this in between the frame rails, have this roughly mount to here, and this will be underneath, mounted under the frame rail. I'll then have, I'll cut this out of steel, obviously, and then have this welded and pilot some holes in, so it'll give us the opportunity to mount here. This will all make sense once I get it up underneath the car, so I can show you. But I've since got this all kind of cleaned up, wire wheeled it, and I've got it back to relatively better status than it once was. I'm going to take the time to fabricate and put everything together, but then I'm going to have this rebuilt. I'm going to take care of this, so it's all, might not be visually pleasing because it's got some pitting on some spots, which is, it's not a big deal for me anyway, but anyway, as long as it works well and it's reliable and steers well without having to have a suicide knob, even those are cool. Let's get this going. What I'm gonna do is mount those two brackets that I was showing you earlier that I'm gonna fabricate to mount underneath the frame here and here. That'll bracket, or mount to these brackets anyway. I'm gonna have to shimmy this one out away from the frame so I can at least still get the steering arm or the linkage all the way from the steering shaft to here, while still having clearance on there. You get what I'm saying. Trying to keep it, if you can kind of see the belly pan of the car, this is still way up underneath by a couple inches from the frame. Get that taken care of. All right, guys, so as I had mentioned earlier, these are the templates that I made, and I cut them out of flat stock and welded to this square stock, piloted the holes to anchor. Now these will be welded on the underside of the frame. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Oh well. Steady, steady. Oh shit. Okay, here we go. All right. So roughly like, oh please stay. Okay. Roughly like so. Well, roughly that's what we're going for. That's the idea. And then from there it's on to geometry, which that'll present another challenge, which we'll get there when we get there. All right, next step. So I ordered some parts. I got these Moog. This one. Ordered 2 of these. Ended up getting, well, I ordered 2. They gave me the same number. Different product. Way to go, Amazon. I don't know, unless they had somebody who packaged them how they saw fit. Anyway, ordered another one. Not that it was all that much, $17 whole. But they're built so much better. I mean, you can see like the off-brand. This one, and this one. The Castle nut is well, it's far superior. That's actually the wrong Castle nut. I took it off the good one. You can see the difference. Garbage. Anyway, that's where these will. Here we go. That's where these will go in place of the stock ones. The stock ones, these here, will go bye-bye. And this is what I need to have machined to fit this here as well as this here. The inner tie rod to the outer tie rod is basically your adjuster. There was, best of my knowledge, there was a kit. There was a kit that Fat Man had, but they're no longer in business. Please stay. They're no longer in business. They had a kit that you can get for these cars that gave you, what was it? It actually gave you the kit, the mounting plates, the bars that are already pre-welded to adapt this J-body steering linkage. Well, they would give you the adapter that's threaded for this, as well as the inner tie rod. But in my research, I found that has snapped before. That's not what you want, you know? Doing 70 down the highway and have one of your tires just decide to grow a conscience. So I'm gonna take a pause on the steering until I can get these machined. I'd want to do them right. I just want to have it done, be safe. I don't want to be like white knuckle ride this thing, you know. But for the most part, she's all in. Looks really nice and clean. This here clears really well. Here, this one, it's a close shave, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this, heat it up, bend it here, and then bend it here. So it has it's too close for comfort for me when it's at full, let's say, left rock. When it's, when it's at full lock, I'll turn to the right. Rock and lock. I got those mixed up. See that? Anyway, and it won't deter anything as far as the geometry goes. It'll still steer correctly. But these will all be, basically everything will be new again. Pretty stoked with that. So moving on from here, I'm gonna do a little segue into something else. I'm gonna address this here. I just had my parents came and visited my wife and I, and they got to see everything that I'm doing, and all my time and efforts and what I've been doing besides my day job. Well, my pops said, you know, because I don't know if you noticed, I did have to address the brake linkage.
brake pedal, and it needs to get out of the way of the exhaust. So it's like dead center. So to maximize as much room as possible, I'm gonna fillet this down, this bracket down, and push it closer to the wall of the inside of the frame. And then I'll still end up moving this. I just won't have to bend it as much, you know what I mean? I can do a little S curve kind of come up, just so I can have a better throw, and then have a little bit more room for my exhaust. Can't do that. And then, steering. That'll be fun. You're gonna have the steering come in, you know, over there. So I'm gonna address that until I can get those fixed. Address this, and then I'm gonna take care of. I've already cleaned myself a space here so I can mount. I got these generic shock mounts that they're meant for an axle tube, obviously, but I'm not going to use them for that. I'm going to use them for this. So I'll configure that so they'll mount to the stock shock mounts at the top, at the that cross brace in the rear, and then we'll have shocks. That'll be the last thing to really address for the rear end. Up until then, we'll see where we go. I'll finish those things out. Won't address the brake lines just yet. Anyway, let's take care of that, and we'll get to it.
Okay, well, after hacking away at that lower shock bracket, I don't think I'm gonna go with that. Only reason is because it's 2 eyelets, and just because of the up and down and the measurements at, well, it's like the shocks that I was looking to get, at compressed, they're 9 5/8, 5/16. Let me see. At compressed, at the center of the eyelet, they're 9 5/8, fully compressed. The car's fully laid out, so it'd be fine if it's mounted here. But as the, let's see, like the outer radius, like it moves like this, the lower arm, I don't want it to cause like more stress on that bushing. Here I don't mind, but if I can take some of the stress away by putting rather than a shock with an eyelet on either end, do one with a post on just the bottom. Not too big of a deal. I mean, I'm not a total loss. I can find a use for these at some point or another, but I think I'm gonna go that route. I already have the mounts for the front and for the shock mounts, because I had to relocate those, or I just wanted to relocate them because the shocks on the design on these is ridiculous. Anyway, I'll get back to this. We'll do that for another time. What gets out here? This here, I got the mount. What did I do with the mount? What did I do with the mount? Okay. So the original shock it's a weird design, mounted here on the upper A arm and here on the spindle. Yeah, it creates some sort of dampener, but I'd rather it mount off of the frame to here. So I'll use them little short shocks that I ordered from that with an eyelet on either end. So I'll just go ahead and fab these up and then zap those on here. Yeah, not totally lost. All right, let's get to it. Now the other one I used and I just flipped it over and I traced out the opposite line of the last one, so at least I don't have to go back and measure again. Just duplicate it and go out for the other side. Okay, well, got the shocks in, got the front shocks in. Is it good? Everything's cleared. All the clearance, all looks really nice. All buttoned up as best as possible for now. I'm gonna end up going over everything once I disassemble the whole car again, just for paint. Because I'm gonna do one of like a rust inhibitor for the chassis, and when I do, I'll go over any overlooked pieces, fabrication that may need attending to. What else? Now I'm gonna go ahead and peel this off. I only tacked it in, and then get it closer to the inside wall of the frame. And then at that point, it'll be probably another episode where I address this guy. It's been on my brain, trying to figure out how I'm gonna work that. But anyway, we'll go ahead and take care of this. Still figuring out what to do as far as the rear shocks. I thought even a mount here that can mount, so even the shock would be like straight up and down, maybe, you know? I don't know. What do you think? We'll get to that in a little bit, but let's go ahead and address this brake fabrication issue, dilemma. All right. The last time I had it mounted up here, it was a little bit above the top of it. It was just basically just kind of set in there. I wanted to see where I needed to be. As far as the pedal goes, either way, it's gonna be I'm screwed because I gotta get out of the way of the exhaust. Anyway, I had the reservoir a little bit above the plane of the top of the frame. I didn't want that, so I'm gonna get it just below the frame and then kind of tweak it a little bit, but keep it at the same level as the, get off me. Same level as the as where the frame lies right here, so I can try and keep that same plane. Guys, if you don't have one of these, any kind of this electrical or electronic level, these things are a godsend. Holy smokes. Helps me out tremendously with the motor, getting it in, anything level, pinion angle, they come in real handy. So we're looking at 6, 7. Oh, let me get a marker. If you're ever at Costco or Sam's Club or whatever, buy a pack of black Sharpies. I find these everywhere because I lose them, but also because they're super duper handy. And if you're smart, you'll keep the pen cap on them so they don't dry out. Little tip. 6, 7, okay. Man, that was super steady. All right, guys, so that'll be about the end of it on this run, or at least this episode. I did want to I didn't get it recorded, but I did go ahead and tackle the brake pedal, and I pie cut it in a couple spots, just so I can get it to clear the exhaust, which before it was like dead smack in the middle. But this way, I ended up cutting it here. You can kind of see a little light gap there. This one here. So I'm guessing as far as the throw goes, we'll see. We'll get to the measurements. I didn't final weld like the structure of the pedal, so it strengthens. I bent it in a couple spots, but either or. I'm gonna bring it to a close on this one, and that's gonna be about it. I do know I got to get to the rear shock mounts. I'll get to those. I'm kind of at a standstill as what I want to do with those. I mean, realistically, I can go with both eyelets that mount to the trailing arms with a little flex, but I don't know. I'll figure that out. Same with the, I gotta machine the mounts to the inner tie rods, to the outer tie rods, for the steering. Gotta figure that out. Not a big deal. Once I get to that, it'll be a roller. Once I get it to be a roller, then, man, it's like, we're close to getting the body back on, and then I can start, cutting out the floor of that thing and start doing the up and down, figuring out how the body's going to work with what work we've done so far on the chassis. I'm looking forward to that. Things come a far cry from what it once was when I bought the thing. I bought this car 3 years ago. I don't know. I think his name's Justin. Thanks, bro. I don't think the car was really going to do much of anything but sit in the Texas heat beyond, well, it's been sitting since the 70s. At least that's the last plate said anyway. Anyway, thanks for the sale, man. If you're tuning in. We'll go ahead and end it here. Hopefully I can get an episode to you guys sooner. I would like to anyway. I know it took me a minute. Six? I'd like to get a sixth episode in. So that's an episode every couple months. Not like you need to hear any of that. Would like to get in at least another episode just to kind of button up everything and finish all the work on the chassis before getting the body work on. Anyway, go ahead and wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. If you can, like, comment, subscribe. I like the comments. By all means, comment. I don't pretend. Well, I pretend. I pretended now. I don't know it all. I'm just taking on the addiction that my father passed on to me, as far as working on these cars, and giving them a new life. Anyway, if there's something that strikes you that I'm doing that you wouldn't do, or maybe would do, maybe you're learning something, maybe you're not. I don't care. Just chime in. I'm all for it. But anyway, thank you very much for supporting me, supporting the channel, and I look forward to making the next episode for you guys, and we'll keep moving on. Thanks.